What's up, Awa? Great. Hello.
戦局はどうなっておりますかな。
Good.
我答えよ。
頑張ります。
No, One Piece Part Warriors 3 has dodge offset. So does Berserk. But yeah, for a mainline Dynasty Warriors game, this is the first one with dodge offset, if that's what you mean. They tend to experiment with mechanics in games like this compared to the mainline stuff, just because there's so many characters. Oh yeah, yeah. This first, well, I guess technically this game is mainline. No, Origins does not have dodge offset. Origins doesn't really need it. Doesn't really need it. Because you can just parry at any point in an animation anyway. Which I think is a little bit better. Makes the game less dodge spammy. And Origins doesn't even have attack speed. Which is like the main reason why I'm not playing that game that much. I need my attack speed. My beloved attack speed. There's no mod for attack speed either. They can't. The way the game is coded, I guess, makes it hard for them to add attack speed to the game. No, Origins is a great game. It really is. It's just, if you like the builds and stuff, the game is kind of not that interesting. It's kind of one and done. But they did sell like 1 million copies already, and it's barely been a month, so there definitely will be more content for it. They'd be stupid not to. I'm sure they're already working on it. They've already kind of dropped hints on their Twitter account. There's gonna be more for it. This game was like made for me. This game was like made for me. Muso and roguelike. It like made this designed by a committee for me or something, I don't know. Well, the combat's fun, it just needs more stuff. The builds are very boring, so... Nine combat was more fluid, but it was also very limited. Repeat the whole moveset like 10 times to kill one officer on the hardest difficulty. Pretty poorly designed. Alright, I need to try to get her from the... We're all perfect right there. There's 100% attack right there. GG's. This is already a very good start. Excellent start. What's my attack at already? I'm already at 148% attack in the first, like, 5 minutes of the game. I'm learning how to break this game, because this is one of those roguelikes that's not fun if you don't break it. Which is kind of one of the flaws, if you ask me. There are some roguelikes where you get, like, shit drops and it's still fun. This is not one of those games. Ah, fuck, took a hit. Trying to no damage because it increases his attack stat. There, one cycle. I like this game better than Hades 2. I don't really think Hades is as good as people say it is. It's a good game. I don't think it's far from the best action roguelike. It's far from the best action roguelike. Like, by a ton. So it's the most popular one, so people assume it's the best one. You gotta dig deeper for a better action roguelike. There's so many other action roguelikes that have better combat. But if you like it, that's cool. On the other hand, most roguelikes have, like, no story, and the writing and voice acting in Hades is very good, so that's what some people need to play a game like this. I personally am not a story guy. I'm all in it for the gameplay, so I don't think the game has a lot to offer me personally. But for plenty of people, that's what they need to play a repetitive genre like this. Is they need story focus. This game's story is like a paragraph. It's like a NES game. I love it. Zero effort into story. We're just gonna make a pretty sick but flawed action roguelike with 99% recycled assets, and you're gonna like it. You don't give a fuck what you think. Heck yeah. We took all these old character models and we repurposed them into something cool and relatively original. At least the way that this game's combat is. The way this game's combat is very original compared to usual roguelikes. What's up, brother? How you doing? Oh, is it blowing up? Yeah. My overview for this did very well, and it wasn't even a good overview. I don't think it's one of my best ones. I really crapped it out, but the algorithm liked it. I'm not complaining, I'll make a few extra bucks. I'm not gonna complain about it, just find it weird. Yeah, they spammed a lot of Samurai Warriors 4 games. It's one of the biggest Muso series families. Samurai Warriors 4 had an uphill battle because people wanted new movesets, and that's not what the game was. And then they made 4-2, which had no reason to be like a separate game. It really should have been a, you know, a DLC expansion. There wasn't anything in that game that warranted it being a new game. It really doesn't add much of anything. It adds a pretty sick roguelike mode, which is kind of like a prototype for this. But it really is just the same game, and it has like barely any content. So by that point, people were already kind of checked out. The Dynasty Warriors 7 family was going on at that time, and those games comparatively added way more stuff. It just doesn't have anything that warrants buying an entire new game. I don't know why they were shocked that it didn't do that well. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Pretty obvious that was not going to do well. Spirit of Sanada was too little too late. They already did it Empires after that too. People were already burnt out of it. The first Samurai Warriors 2 isn't a bad game, but it's not what people wanted. I remember the discourse about that game when it came out. Was that, you know, it's the same movesets again, which is a valid complaint. It really is. Because they did so many games with those movesets. You play these games on a regular basis, you were already really tired of those movesets. It's a valid complaint. But then Samurai Warriors 4 2 is just like the epitome of a cheap cash grab that didn't need to exist. There's nothing about that game that needed to exist. They really should not have made that game. It should have been DLC. $20, $30 DLC for that game would have been fair. Buying a whole other game and having to start from scratch is just tone deafs. What I understand, there was a lawsuit at the time that prevented them from doing, like, Extreme Legends or something, if I remember correctly. But Samurai Warriors 4 2 was a stupid idea, and I really don't think Samurai Warriors has recovered since, to be honest with you. Like, Samurai Warriors 2 is widely regarded as, like, one of the best Musou games ever made. You know, it's got above average gameplay, and then, you know, good story, good presentation, there's a lot of content. And then 3 was like Wii exclusive, which I don't need to explain why that kind of doomed the game. It goes without saying. Making that Wii exclusive was a misstep. 4, as I just mentioned, wasn't bad, but it was the beginning of the decline for sure. Milking the series too much, adding minimal content, just trying to churn out as many games as possible without caring about the quality. And then 5 actually has some legit fun things about it, but it's undeniably a shit reboot. It's a shit reboot because, you know, there's only like 15 weapons and there's like 50 characters. Like, how is that okay? How do you only have 15 movesets in a freaking reboot? A lot of them are just like NPCs too. The roster felt like it was out of a sports game or something. Just need to have a certain amount of characters in the roster to sell a new game. Did not feel necessary at all. They already had like minimal impact in the story, so if you cared about that, they weren't really relevant either. But then the fact that they're all clones just makes it worse. The game has an embarrassing lack of content. It's like, really, you call this a reboot? It's not even a reboot. It's barely a reboot. Because it's a reboot with, like, almost everything missing. 0 endgame content, 15 weapons, and And a lot of them aren't great. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. In gacha games, you gotta put up with gambling. How much worse gachas have gotten ever since MiHoYo. Ever since MiHoYo made 50-50 pity popular. I don't know about that. It's legit not fun to pull for characters in gachas anymore, unless it's PGR. Or like one of the less popular ones that doesn't do that. Or like Aethergazer, where it has 50-50 but it doesn't take away the pity. Moveset quality, yes, I agree. Moveset quality, I agree. I don't think gachas are in the best state right now. But yes, I do agree with you. Moveset quality in gacha games is definitely improving. Not wrong there. That's because gacha games, if they're successful, make way more than these games make. That's like the real reason. The latest Star Ocean was okay. It was okay. Yeah, the moveset was very small. I definitely agree with you there. Also, not having a New Game Plus is just idiotic. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. How do you not have a New Game Plus when you have, like, characters on specific routes and you have that grindy-ass, what's it called? You have the grindy system where you have to constantly reset the game and save scum to get something halfway decent. How are you not gonna let me carry over my shit if you're gonna do that? Like, come on now. Seriously. How hard is it to add a New Game Plus? I mean, the thing about Star Ocean games is that they make it easy to get overpowered. So I guess they feel like it doesn't need a New Game Plus, but there's also been like so many RPGs, like turn-based and action combat since Star Ocean 4 that have New Game Plus. It's just the standard. The item creation system in that game was worse than, like, you know, Genshin Impact artifacts, which is stupid for, you know, something you're paying full price for. You know, I get why they put garbage like that in gacha games, because it keeps people playing, but, you know, if I pay a full $60 for something, I don't want to constantly save scum the game to get something worth using. Like, that's just stupid. Get out of here with that shit. Give me some kind of agency.
さて
I like Star Ocean 6 enough to finish it, but I saw the grind and fighting with the cheat engine it would have taken to make that game fun to play again. I'm like, nah, that's a one and done for me. I enjoyed the game. It was pretty good. But it still felt really behind Tales. It felt insanely behind Tales in like every way. You had Tales and Star Ocean were like direct competitors for like such a long time, and they learned very little from it, which is weird. Should you like learn from your competition at some point? Repeating the same mistakes. No new game plus and small moveset. I mean, it's not just Tales. It's old franchises in general. Are just... Games are just so much more popular now. Like Metroid Dread, for instance, outsold every other game combined, from what I remember, or got very close. Just because it's on a more popular console, and it's also... Video games are way more popular. Also, that game came out, like, right in the middle of COVID, so that helped the game, too. But, like, a lot of these franchises are selling so many more copies just because, you know, games are more popular. They put out a new installment. And the people that buy them don't know any better because, you know, they haven't played the other ones. That's really all it is. You're a lot less picky with games when you don't have anything to compare it to. Which is why people like me are very picky on what we'll play. But then... somebody that just goes on PSN and sees Arise, I mean... it's still better than nothing, I guess. I mean, it's there. JRPGs in general come out, like, way less than they used to. I feel sorry for them too, but you can't really blame people for being misinformed when they don't fucking preserve the games. It's not like Final Fantasy, you know, where people have dumb opinions, and it's just a matter of them needing to sit down and play the game. I mean, you can't play the games. You can't play Tales games. That's exactly the problem. I can't fault anybody for thinking Arise is peak. They have like, what, like 4 games you can play on PSN right now? Exactly. It's a completely different different situation compared to like pretty much all their competitors. Pretty much all their competitors. Star Ocean East, Final Fantasy. All those games are really easy to get a hold of. They're just on, you know, console and PC. All of them. Or the vast majority of them, at least. Way more than what's accessible for Tales. How am I enjoying this? It's a very lopsided roguelike. Very lopsided. And I've put like 1,000+ hours into games like this. So, I know what I'm talking about. It definitely needs some patches. I think it's a good foundation, and it's definitely one of the most original action roguelikes in a long time, because for somebody who plays a lot of these games, this genre's been mad boring for a while now, because everybody either just copies Hades or Vampire Survivors. It's all just like the exact same game. I don't like Vampire Survivors, so when there's like 800 clones of it, I'm just not really even interested out the jump. But this game's pretty cool. It's a nice way to recycle old assets and do something new with them. This reminds me of like a Mugen game. Or an open BOR game, just a bunch of same old sprites recycled, but in like a different way that makes them cool. Oh, I mean, I agree with you there. Even people who like Arise, everybody will pretty much agrees that the quality takes a massive dump at the end. The writing, the writing and the pacing, the amount of cutscenes as well. The presentation takes a huge dump. That last dungeon is pretty terrible. Very exhausting, fighting the same recolored bosses over and over. I think everybody agrees with that, even people who like the game. I'll be honest with you, Lightside. I lost a lot of interest in Bushiden when they announced it was a Metroidvania. I feel like the movement and combat need to be really good to carry a Metroidvania. You know, when the game only has to be like 2-3 hours long, it's a lot easier. I'm not sure how I feel about that. It is the year of the ninja for sure, but Bushiden is vaporware. Last I heard about that game was like middle of last year. They put out a backer demo for it, and I watched somebody play it. It's just another Metroidvania. I kind of wish it was more focused. I'm not sure if they have enough stuff in the game to carry it being like 10-20 hours instead of 3. I could be wrong though. I didn't back the game. I haven't played it myself, but it may be a little bit apprehensive. But yes, the quality of Arise takes a massive dump. Compare like the first boss of Arise, you know, with the big Efreet demon that you fight, and like the music is playing. I'm like, dude, this game is like really stepping up the production values of Tales. Even if you don't like the combat, it's like, this is awesome. And then 50 hours later, there's nothing like that anymore. It's a bunch of still image cutscenes. The production values take a fat dump. So if that's what you're playing the game for, I don't think anybody would disagree. They upped the production value until they got to the end. And then there was no more production values. Final boss was just like the same recolored boss you fought like 50 times at that point. They recolored it and gave it, you know, an extra digit of stats. Like, come on, you could do better than that. They're making people like actively not want to finish the game. You need to keep it consistent. Raging Justice 2. That was definitely an Urkel game. What's up, Din? we go. Got the 5 tigers. That's very good. Oh wow, it's Christmas. Alright, you gotta change the build now. Let's see here. He's not helping. Oh, there we go. Increased damage to barriers. Obvious take. They won't revive Basara.
好きに選ぶがよい。
They won't revive Basara. I wish. Boy, do I wish they would revive Basara, but they're too busy making a new Monster Hunter game that runs at like 12 FPS. A new Monster Hunter like barely works. They're too busy doing that. They have a content creator esports computer and the game still doesn't run. They're too busy doing that instead of making something better. It's the world we live in. I don't need to see my character's armpit hairs or their fabric on their clothing. I need the game to not run like garbage. That should be the priority. They're getting such a diminishing return with graphics, but they keep doing stuff like ray tracing. It just makes the games run worse. I don't really care about that when I'm playing. I'm having fun playing this, and this looks like, you know, I mean, it is an asset flip. Just want the game to run well. I've already hit such diminishing returns with graphics as it is.
我に答え。
わしも頑張っちゃうよ。
うん。
もうこれさ。 もうこれさ。 この戦もらった。 こ
think this might not clear if I play bad, but it doesn't really matter. I don't really have anything left to unlock. Mostly just the weapons, and the weapons are just Gacha pity system. You can pay 50k embers to get the weapon, but it doesn't tell you what the weapon does, so it's a pretty garbage system. If I'm going to invest 4 to 5 runs into a weapon, I want to know what it does. It's really stupid that it doesn't tell you. Terrible design. The weapons don't suck. Some of them do, not all of them. What hit me? That's bad. Got hit again by nothing. I don't have a revive. Try to make this happen, but I don't think it will. Oh, come on, I'm way on the side of that. I hate how this boss has 2 forms. I'd still do it. Depends on how much damage I do here. Good. Oh, damn, I didn't have enough bar. Ah, fuck. So much health. Come on, revive. we go. That was kind of clutch. I was playing really bad at the end. GG's. Didn't get any weapons for my effort. Shit RNG. There you go. There's the first stream on clear. First clear on stream. Yeah, that was totally my fault. I was playing really bad. GG's. Yeah, that was pretty slow. Best time is 38 minutes. Only a couple more characters left to unlock. Keep me to level 100. How does the meta progression work? It's very uninteresting. You unlock a character, you get stats. There are unique weapons, just like the real Muso games, and they have passives. Some of them, some like his, are really busted. If you read this, it doesn't seem that good, but what's broken about it is the fact that you're getting a 3% attack increase every time you do no damage. And once you get good at the game, you can easily get to beat the first boss without taking a single hit. You've already almost maxed out that perk. And then when you're inflicting shock, your cooldown is decreasing. And also, his moveset sucks in the mainline Muso games. He's always been garbage tier. I just play as him because I like martial arts. But in this game, it's a benefit because all his first 4 charge attacks come out really quick. So he doesn't really need to use the quick assist that much. So he's pretty much always running at like the bare minimum cooldown. As long as you play well in the first half of the game, you've already got 50% attack from that, and then you look at the top, he gets 5% for every Wu emblem, and like, there's a lot of synergies with Wu, like if you get the Kiao sisters, he gets 100% attack from that, and then there's a bunch of other Wu adjacent buffs that he can get. So, just playing him naturally, as long as you get your damage at the beginning, you know, you get your no damage clears. It only takes, how many does it take? It takes 17 fights to max it out. And you've already got half of that just doing the first boss. So if you can go all the way to the second boss, taking little or no damage, you've already maxed it out. It's insanely overpowered. I haven't seen the other unique weapons because the game hasn't really been dropping them. I got these two, and I got Meng Huo's. I haven't gotten any others. Game's been kind of a dick to me today. Yeah. The problem with the unique weapon system is it doesn't tell you what they do. Also, the really dumb thing about this game is you can't do the hardest difficulties with everybody. You have to clear the game 5 times with everybody to do the max difficulty. Well, luckily the difficulties in this game are pretty boring and don't really do much, but it's just boneheaded design. I don't know why you would design it like that. It's pretty much just more stats. And minimal reward. I feel like bare minimum, it should increase unique item drop rate. 40% still really doesn't help much, because it's still going to mean if you want to pity system a unique weapon for a character you like, it's still like 3 runs minimum. I guess on the final one it's 100%, which would mean that's still 2 runs. Like the math doesn't work. You go all the way to the end and you get double, but it's 50,000 embers to get the guaranteed weapon. So that's 2 runs. 2 runs that go all the way to the end and clear. Just to get a weapon. Like, why don't they just make it so... Keep this stuff, like, the extra difficulty the way it is, but, like, make the unique weapon drop rate higher. There's not really much of an incentive to go any farther. It's just boring video game difficulty where they just increase the numbers. They do seem a little bit more aggressive. I noticed the peon fights are, like, a little bit harder, but it's barely noticeable. And if you build properly, you're pretty much always invincible anyway. If you make a Muso build, you only have to hit things a couple times and you have your Muso bar back. So replay value-wise, the main thing this game needs is the difficulty system needs to be completely revamped. This is very boring. I'm gonna keep comparing this game to BlazBlue Entropy Effect because it's like the most similar to this game. You know, the more active combat, you know, the way the dodges work and stuff, and then also the fact that you're playing a character and not like a weapon or a specific moveset. That game does the difficulty way better because you can actually customize it to your liking. You don't have to just give stuff more stats, and then it actually gives you equivalent rewards for doing it. This is just trash. And it's mostly comes down to how much the unique weapons cost. The fact that they cost 50k means that at the highest difficulty, it still takes almost 2 full runs, 1.5 runs, I guess. If you wipe in, like, the 3rd biome, I guess you could get a weapon, but that's still, like, average almost 2 hours of gameplay to get one, and there's 100 characters. And you don't really get any kind of meaningful buff. They really need to make this more interesting. It feels like they put everything into, like, making 100 playable characters and stuff, but then, like, the way that the builds work, and then the meta progression is very boring, and then the difficulty, as I said, is very poorly balanced, just because it's not interesting. Pretty much all the good roguelikes, when you beat the game, there's like more interesting ways to increase the difficulty, and there's an equivalent reward for it, meaning you get more buffs, you get like a permanent buff or something, so that like it's challenging, but you're also getting fun stuff too, and it's not just stat bonuses. This is actively one of the worst difficulty increases I've seen. I don't really see myself bothering with this that much. I really think they need to completely revamp this and make it actually interesting. And the problem also is that the shield system, if you're gonna give them more stats, it just makes the boss fights a slog. And like I said, there's no equivalent reward. By the time you get to like the 3rd difficulty, you probably already have everything unlocked. So the only thing that's left to do is get the unique weapons. But this does not give you a direct drop rate increase, as far as I can tell anyway. I just did one on this difficulty just now and got nothing. This game is really cool, and it's a unique concept, and it definitely stands out because roguelikes have been really boring lately with just a million Hades and Vampire Survivors clones. The combat in this game is good, and there's nothing else like it, but the non-combat parts of this game are super amateurish, and the people that made it should have looked at how other action roguelikes do this kind of stuff, because I'm kind of just playing this because it's fun, but don't just put difficulty in the game and just make it stats and debuffs. There should be some kind of benefit. But the benefit really is just to get the unique weapons, but you're looking at, on average, almost 2 hours of gameplay to get one. And that's if you get to the end. If you're wiping, there's absolutely no benefit in the harder difficulty at all. I mean, it's nice that they have a gold sync. I play a lot of these games, and one of the biggest problems is the currency becomes useless too fast. And I think they solved that problem, but there definitely should be more to do with it, other than get the weapons. It should provide per-run buffs. There should be more meta progression or something, because this game has, like, so many characters. But the meta progression is very boring in this game. It's basically just unlock the characters. The formations make a pretty significant difference, but the characters just give you stats. There's very few mechanics changes in here. I hope so. I think this game has a lot of potential, but it's like just barely in my top 10 for best roguelikes. There's too many things wrong with this game. It's like, do I really want to do the second difficulty right now when it's just going to give everything more health? And the boss fights are already the worst part of this game? I mean, I don't really. There's no benefit for it. If it takes longer to kill everything, and I'm only getting 20% more currency, does it even work out? That run right now, I made the right decisions and it took like 10 minutes more. Like, I don't even think it even evens out. I don't know, man. It feels like they took some inspiration from the best roguelikes, but then this stuff in this game is just oddly missing. Why is the meta progression so boring? Why are the difficulty modes just stat increases with no benefit to the player? That hasn't been a thing in successful roguelikes for a while. If I boot up Entropy Effect right now, you guys will see how this game should be. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do that right now, because I don't know how many people have played that game. I'm going to do that right now. I'll show you how it should be. I'll show you how it should be, how poor the meta progression, the difficulty system is in this game. Give me a sec.
Welcome to the Ace Mind training system.
Here's how it works in this game, in comparison. In this game, you have a lot more ways to use the currency in interesting ways. Like this is gives you more slots for the mine crystals. It also gives you more health. And then in here, you have all these buffs that actively change the way that you play. You know, they synergize better with different characters. They do interesting things. They're not all just damage. They also help you mitigate RNG as well, which is always a good thing in roguelikes. And if you go over here to the heat system, the difficulty system, this is so much more interesting. See, there's different ways to make the game difficult besides just adding digits to their health. Like the way I have it right now is more enemies spawn, so it's more like Muso. You're like swarmed with enemies, they attack faster. Traps do more damage. There's a debuff after every level. Less healing. Now I did give them more health over here to be fair, but if I turn that off, I'll still get most of these buffs. And like, by increasing the difficulty, you're actually getting bonuses as well. So you get bonuses, and it's not just more stats or more currency. Like, these are pretty significant buffs. Once you get to, what's it called? Entropy 45, you're getting, you start with 200 money. The slot machine has more stuff. Rest space can clear a debuff. You get 3 more refreshes, which is huge. If you're trying to go for a specific build, that's massive. Exchange point space gives you 50 more. That adds up over the run. More shop refreshes. And then you also get 2 more potential spaces. That's huge. That's build defining right there. And Warriors Abyss is missing all of this stuff. It doesn't have any of these things. The difficulty is just things take longer to kill, and there's like almost no benefit. I don't know why they didn't really, like, even Hades does this. Hades is like one of the first successful roguelikes, at least, to have this system, where there's different ways to make the game harder, besides just jacking up the health and damage. And then there are actual benefits for doing it. That's why, like, it won't replace entropy effect on this channel until they do some serious, you know, updates and some adjustments and stuff. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys another comparison. Hold on. Because I know a lot of you guys aren't roguelike junkies. Mawagre, I know that, but look at how easy it is to make it better. None of that requires new assets, Mawagre. It's literal just more ways to make the game harder, playing the same game, and giving you benefits for it. It would not be hard to do that. It shouldn't be the way it is right now. It shouldn't be the way it is right now, and it's a very easy thing to fix. I'm not asking them to add, like, 800 more characters. I'm asking them to make the harder difficulties actually give you something. But it's kind of just video game difficulty. They increase the digits of the health, and they want you to play the game 6 times. Alright, so here's how it works in this game. The way it works in this game, this is like a really good roguelike. You have like dozens of ways to customize the difficulty. You can make the drinks cost more. You know, if you get hit, the bosses heal. This is way more creative and doesn't take that much effort to add. This is an indie game made by like a handful of people, and the difficulty system is way better in this. And then also, the higher you increase the difficulty, these shards show up. And when you go down here, oops, not this one, this one. When you go here, you have this whole laundry list of buffs that can completely change the way that you play. So the higher you get up in difficulty, the stronger you get. And none of this is like requires any more assets. It's just stuff that's already in the game. So pushing difficulties in this game is way more rewarding because you get more stuff and you can go back and do speedruns on the easier difficulties if you want. Also on Destiny level 6, the boss fights completely change. The movesets change. And they become harder. So, there's your examples. Warriors Abyss needs to learn from those games. It would be a very easy thing to fix. And I sure hope they do it, because I do like playing the game, but I don't know, there's just better options. There's better options. There's better options for like equal or lower price, and that's kind of the problem, especially with Warriors Abyss having like $80 of DLC. And like Astral Ascent is like $15 right now. Entropy Effect is like consistently under 20 bucks. They need to seriously think about the competition, because it's like they have something over the competition, which is the combat is very unique. and you have like dozens of characters to play as, but everything else about the game is worse. Yeah, buy the same costumes again that people have bought like 5 times already for $80 when you can play the games I just showcased on the stream that don't have that shit. And the replay value in those games is way better, and they're better designed games. It's a shame, really. You shouldn't have to wait for a patch to add that stuff that I mentioned. It should be very easy to add. They need to take a serious look at their competition if they want to get into roguelikes, because that endgame is depressing. I would like to see the math of, like, is it actually worth doing the harder difficulties? Because it's like, yes, you get more currency, but then the runtime is going to be more as well. Like, do you actually make a profit? Somebody better with math than I am would have to have to figure that out. I wouldn't be surprised if it, like, you barely break even playing the harder difficulty right now. Like, yeah, it's 100%, but like at the hardest difficulty, how much longer does it take to finish the run? Because you can finish the first difficulty in under 40 minutes. We're getting Han Ying in 4 days. Han Ying's in 4 days. Yeah, Han Ying is in 4 days. So we get Han Ying and Wansha next patch. Yeah, I heard about Vera. That's pretty cool. I heard a rumor that we might be getting a new Kamui frame, which is long overdue. He desperately needs one. Whether that's true or not is anyone's guess. But they definitely need to give us a male character sometime soon. Oh, was it really? Yeah, I don't really pay attention to the community that much. I wouldn't be surprised if it was bullshit. Wait, is the DMC collab this year? Or is it next year? Because that's why they're doing the speed up patches, right? Is it because of DMC collab? Like, oh wow, it is this year. Huh. Oh, I didn't know that. Oops. Hold on.
Got a minute for me?
I doubt they will be meta. I really don't think they want to repeat what happened with the Nier collab, where they were the best they were the meta physical team. They were the meta physical team for months. So people that weren't playing at the time, or they weren't playing the game at all, or they took a break, were at a major disadvantage. At the same time, they gotta make people pull for them somehow, so I'm interested to see how they will approach that. Especially because the physical team is mostly completely replaced now. Rosetta's gone. Rosetta's gone and Balter is gone, so I mean, I guess they could. I don't know if they want to, though. That's the thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't want a repeat of that, but I'm sure they were expecting big revenue from having DMC collab, so they're gonna have to make them worth playing somehow. If they're just, you know, excellent solo video material, or play them in the roguelike mode for fun, I don't know if it's really gonna be worth it. That's a pretty difficult thing to address, I think.
Hold on tight, my child.
Time to start a new journey. That's for my spell, right?
Yeah, a lot of existing action games have really cool roguelikes now. Because it's like, if the game already has good combat, it's pretty easy to make a roguelike mode. And honestly, I feel like as much as I want it in Origins, it wouldn't be very fun just because there's so little gameplay variety right now. The gear in that game is boring, the accessories are boring, and there's only 10 movesets. I could definitely see why they made Abyss instead, but the non-combat design of Abyss is pretty weak. What's wrong with the latest one? I like the ride from Matrix. What's wrong with it? I like the ride from Matrix. I've been playing it every day. What's wrong with it? Like, is it worse? Because the ride from Matrix is really fun. I play it every day. The board game, what? Why don't they just add more stuff to derive from Matrix? Derived from Matrix is fun. That's actually like
Magic.
a top 10 roguelike for me. I really enjoy it. It's disappointing to hear the next one is not good.
Sure about fighting me?
Yeah, I saw that she's A rank, and some people are upset about that. Like, PGR hasn't had too many paid S ranks in a row. I don't really like her design. Not my kind of character design, but PGR definitely needed an A rank. It's been a bloodbath in that game with constant paid S ranks. Hasn't it been like 6 in a row? I heard it's like 6 A ranks in a row or something like that. Yeah, the people that complain about her being A rank aren't really thinking very clearly. PGR is designed in a way where you have to get every character. It's not like Genshin and Zenless and Wuthering where you don't need every character.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
A free-to-play or light spender alternatives can, you know, still clear most of the content. PGR is not designed like that, so there have to be breaks at some point, like what they did with Astral Uncle. Like, Astral was supposed to be an S rank, but they got complaints about too many in a row, so they made him A rank, but he was actually, like, for that point in the game's lifespan, he was really good. He was more than adequate, but they did that because people were getting pissed off at too many A ranks, too many S ranks. Give me Relentless Fury, that's like one of the best moves. There we go. I didn't like Dead Cells that much. I played it like 40 hours. It's not even in my top 10. Combat was kind of uninteresting. It felt hard in unfun ways. Yeah, you know the best part about that, Mawagre? The guy that got plagiarized, I'm pretty sure he's making a living off YouTube right now. Like, he's making a livable wage off YouTube, making like those same guides. If it's the person I'm thinking of, like, his channel is pretty successful. It all happened because I'm not quite sure. Don't quote me on this, but I think it is. I think it is. He did manage to break through the algorithm because that dickwad at IGN couldn't write a review for themselves. Let me see. Let me look that up. Let me look that up before I lie to you. Yeah, that guy's got 369,000 subscribers right now. He's making a living off that. His channel was not that big before that happened. I don't know how much he grew, but it's a good example of a bad thing turning into a good thing. It should never get to that point, though. Somebody who's doing reviews professionally should fucking write it themselves. Come on now.
I still don't believe in ghosts.
No, it's boss rush and walking sim. It's just bosses. I didn't really care for that game that much.
Cool. I needed that.
I didn't get very far in it. Sifu is barely a roguelike. It's like the bare minimum of a roguelike. I don't even know why they have that in the
Caravan,
game.
here I come.
Because after playing for a few hours, you have every move. And there aren't, like, really random upgrades. The upgrades in the game are very boring. It's a skill-based game. There's no RNG or crazy builds in that game or anything. I like that game. It's a good game, but the roguelike stuff just felt like they wanted to put it in to give people an excuse to play it again. It's like an arcade-length game. It's not terribly long. They thought they had to keep people playing somehow. But it's very minimalist. Now that run was going nowhere. Let's see, what do I feel like doing tonight? I've already done like 4 Warriors Abyss runs tonight. Do I feel like playing something else? I'm kind of leaning towards no. Maybe give Warriors Abyss a break for tonight. I guess I could do another run. Yeah, the PS4 is still getting high-tier games like 12 years in, which is nuts. The PS3 was long dead by this point. By like the 10-year mark on the PS3, pretty much all the big games were gone. Even Koei Tecmo had moved on. They weren't making games for it anymore. By 2016, it was pretty much the biggest games that were out for it was basically Persona 5, Tales of Berseria, and then what's it called? Yakuza 0. Those all got PS3 versions, but I don't really think anyone played them because the PS4 had already been out for like 3-4 years at that point. But yeah, it is weird how they still make PS4 games. I'm not talking about indies. Indie games like the one I was just playing probably run just fine on PS4, but I'm talking about like big, professionally made games. They still get PS4 versions, and like the version, it's like so much worse to play on there, the frame rate and everything. I know for a while, Elden Ring I think was the PS4 version on PS5 was better than the PS5 version at launch or something crazy like that. I mean, there are some benefits to it. The fact that the game is run better on PS5, but yeah, the PS4 is like the longest lasting generation to get like relevant games, not just indies, but like big budget games since the Game Boy. Because the Game Boy was like 12 years. Although the Game Boy was kind of weird, because the Game Boy was basically on its deathbed for a really long time until Pokemon came out. And then Pokemon just blew up, and everybody had a Game Boy again. But there wasn't really much going on with the Game Boy until Pokemon, and after Pokemon, there was nothing. But yeah, the Game Boy generation was insanely long, too. Like, almost 10 years. It was like Pokemon Yellow, I think, was like 98, 97, 98. Like they didn't do Generation 2 until the Game Boy Color, which was like 98. So yeah, it was like almost 10 years. The PS4 it's been like 12 years now. It's still getting big games, but they all run like garbage. I think a good example of this is the FF7 remake. Like, that game should not have come out on PS4. Like, the frame rate was 30 FPS and the load times are really long. And, like, the PS5 version was like a night and day difference. Even without the Yuffie DLC, it was pretty substantial upgrade. I'm like, it should have been an exclusive all along, but they wanted to maximize their sales. I don't really see any reason other than money that it should have been on PS4. Seemed like it was a better experience. The last 2 PS3 Tales games are like that as well. Berseria got a PS3 version in Japan, but it was 30 FPS. Zestiria was kind of interesting because that game is 30 FPS on all platforms except for PC with the fan mod. So I don't even know what the benefit of, of upgrading to PS4 for Zestiria was. It seemed like it was barely anything. I mean, I guess you could record clips and the resolution was higher, but the frame rate was identical. It's like one of those upgrades that's barely an upgrade. I don't really think it loaded much faster. The frame rate was the same. They didn't add anything to it. It's just like, I don't understand why that game was 30 FPS. It was really weird. Kamen Rider Batride War game was like that too. That game was a very late PS3 game. That game came out in 2016. So, literal 10 years after the console came out. And then all they did for the PS4 version, they didn't uncap the frame rate. The only thing they did was they made it run at 1080p and they added more peons. That's the only difference. That's like the most half-assed upgrade I've ever bought. They changed like literally nothing about it. And it came out at the same time. I think it also cost more too, if I remember correctly, and they barely did anything to it. And like, there's no way that game couldn't have run at 60 FPS. Because the Steam Deck does it. The Steam Deck with that mod I commissioned, it runs the game 60 FPS locked all the time. It's really funny because it could have easily made that game run better. Like getting Rise of Ronin on PC, I'm thinking about it. I need to do more research on that game. I hear the combat's only okay. It's still post Neo 2 Team Ninja, where the games, the Souls-likes they've made after Neo 2 are still better than the FromSoft stuff, combat-wise, but everything else about the game is worse. I don't know. I'll have to do some research. I'll probably get a review key for it, but I need to see if I'm, like, even interested in the game in the first place, because I don't think I am. We'll see. What else is even coming out in March? I don't know, I know Lost Soul Aside is May. Shinobi is August. We don't know the release date for Ninja Gaiden 4 or Ragebound, but I will be playing all of those games. I'm doing Yakuza Pirate in a few days. A bunch of my roguelikes and shit have... updates coming. Yeah, the second half of this year is going to be pretty stacked for the channel. That's not even counting Origins updates. Like, that game's obviously going to get some pretty meaty updates. Of course, Neo has better combat than Ronin. Neo puts all the FromSoft games to shame. Those games have such shit combat compared to Neo. The combat in those games is like 1,000 times better. The problem is that after Neo 2, everything they've put out since has been worse in some way. Wo Long was terrible at launch. That game was abysmal at launch. It became better after the updates, but everybody already moved on by that point. That game should have been better from the jump. I came back to the game after they did the updates. I did play it for like over 100 hours. But I hopped off that game real quick. It was worse than Neo in every way. Team Ninja games, I mean, even their worst Souls-likes are better than anything FromSoft makes combat-wise, but the quality's been very inconsistent. It's been on a downward spiral. Stranger of Paradise is good if you like the action RPG stuff, and you get past the first playthrough. The first playthrough in that game is so bad. If you buy the roguelike mode, the game, you can get hundreds of hours out of it, but it's also a very repetitive grind, so if that's not your thing, I wouldn't recommend that game. Wo Long, the roguelike mode, was fun, but the load times in that game were so long. There was somebody on Reddit that said that they went through all 10,000 levels, And they said they estimated more than 30% of the time they spent doing it was waiting for the game to load. And that's why I stopped playing it. The load times in that game were so bad. I'm like, this game doesn't look all that hot, man. Like, why does it take so long to load like a PS2 era combat room? Why does it take like a minute to load? If it didn't take so long to load, the game would flow so much better. But they made a roguelike mode that has 10,000 levels, and it takes a fiscal year to load like a room with one boss or like 8 enemies in it. But they did make that game a lot better over time. It became a game worth playing. At launch, it was horrible. The combat was terrible. The performance was bad, so there just wasn't much of a reason to play it. Because you don't play Team Ninja games for the story. You play it for the rock-solid, hardcore combat and the cool builds and shit. That's the only reason to play it. If you want to be immersed and you want to have atmosphere and stuff and like better music and presentation, then go play a FromSoft game. But if you just want combat and much better gameplay, it's the only thing they have to offer. So, Wo Long coming out as shitty as it was really weird. I'm like, is this the same team that made Neo 2? Because it's so much worse. Well, it was made by the B team, if I remember correctly. I think Team Ninja, they have multiple teams that make the games. And I think the A team was on Rise of the Ronin, because that game was mostly new stuff. It wasn't recycled assets. So they got the B team to do Wo Long, and it fucking showed, man. That game was so bad at launch. The thing about Team Ninja games, though, is that, like, yeah, they're... If you want the stuff that FromSoft does better, you know, story, presentation, the immersion and atmosphere and stuff, don't play Team Ninja games. But the thing I like about Team Ninja games is they actually listen to the community, and they fix stuff pretty quick. Wo Long took a couple months, but once the DLC came out, the game got much better. They almost completely overhauled the combat. They gave you more move slots. They made the R1s not have like so much recovery, so that you constantly got hit out of them. So the combat flowed a lot better. Who made this sheet? It was somebody on Reddit. Somebody on Reddit made it, and they're still filling out all the unique weapons. I guess I'll do like half of a run, and then I'm going to go ahead and stop for tonight. I've been working on videos and stuff all day. I don't know how much more I've got in me. I'll do like a couple rooms, and I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. So it seems like right now, you get a passive stat buff for every 25 cumulative levels. So, roughly every run, every 1.5 runs, you'll get an upgrade. I don't know how far this goes. It would be interesting for somebody to use cheat engine and see how far this goes. Maybe if you just spam one character the whole time, maybe the harder difficulties would be worth doing. But yeah, the difficulty curve in this game is pretty bad, honestly. If I get 100% embers for the max difficulty, but everything takes twice as long to kill, I mean, it basically evens out, but then the game is less fun because the bosses keep getting up. It's really strange. Yeah. Let's just play on the default difficulty. We'll start a speed run. I'll probably finish it tomorrow, later today.
見せてやろう。
見せてやろう。
任せてもらおう。
我答えよ。
行くぞ。
30%. 30% and it didn't go through. Got the XCOM 70%. 70% is actually 0.7%. It's like XCOM. It tells you there's a 98% chance to hit and you still miss. XCOM percentage. It says like 99%. No. We actually meant 0.98%. It's like Gacha rates.
我が雌雄で敵を撃つ。
Got Jump from the Battlefield playing. Certified Hood Classic. Old school. Jump into the Battlefield is what this track is called.
我答えよ。
給油機の武芸見せてあげる。
It's a pretty crap start. I guess I can go for the Tiger Generals. That's probably the best thing to do right now. There we go.
関雲長が義
Alright,
の
run's starting to turn around
この
already.
戦場にて示さん 任せてもらおう 参ります
Mairimasu.
さて
I like how the story in this game is just a few illustrations and like 5 voice lines. Really feels like stuff I grew up with. I think is part of the charm. I don't really think it's because this game is low budget. It's just because there's so many voice actors they'd have to call. Like, yeah, we're just gonna make some new twink character. Call it a day. Record like 5 voice lines. That's all the story a roguelike needs, in my opinion.
火は尽くした一斉に攻めかかれ
I definitely agree with you, but once you start to learn how the builds go, you don't spend that much time in the menus. It's pretty much just like any other roguelike in that regard. You spend a lot of time looking at stuff and deciding what you want to do. But then once you've have a better idea of how to make a build and what to look for, you spend less time in the menus. Pretty much every roguelike is like that to a degree. Blaze Through Entropy Effect is like that too. There's a shit ton of menus, but eventually you play the game enough you don't even have to read it.
守ります
Problem with this game's menus is just you have to learn what it is you want to actually put on your character, and it's a lot of reading and understanding what you're doing. And once you get past that point, you notice I get through the menus pretty quick because I already know how I want to build the character. I'm not really reading much. I spend most time doing this, which is just to make sure that there's an officer I want, because I don't have that memorized yet, but I'm barely reading anything at this point. You know what this game reminds me of? It reminds me of Kamen Rider Batride War, which was the same problem. You spend a lot less time in the menus if you know Dynasty Warriors. But if you don't, or you're like a more casual fan, you're going to be spending a fuck ton of time in these menus. And that game was the same. If you knew the Kamen Rider characters, it was pretty easy to tell what you needed to do. See how fast I'm going here? It just takes time. Just takes time.
援軍として推算。もうこれさもうこれさ火は尽くした一斉に攻めかかれ
我答えうん
全身全霊にて参
See, I'm barely reading at this point. I'm barely reading it. I spend a lot of time doing this. This is because I don't have it memorized. I'm only like 15 hours in. Pretty much most roguelikes are like this. To speed run them takes skill, of course, but it also takes memorization.
油断するな
Eventually, you just know what something is from the icon, which in this game is pretty easy because they're people and not items. Like me, personally, as somebody who's been playing these games for so long, I see the character and I don't need to read the rest. But yeah, I do agree with you. You're not wrong.
もうこれさ
But I play more of these games, these kinds of games than most people, and can definitely tell you that that does go away with time.
我答え
Oh good, got him. I got the 5 shoot tigers already. See, no reading required. I saw his face and that's it. Alright, so we gotta get his wife. Need to get his wife. That's like the main thing I need right now. It's a pretty decent build already, but I don't have his wife. His wife is 100% attack increase. So you need both the Kiao sisters for him, and he gets double attack. That's what I need to aim for now.
我答え
わしも頑張っちゃうよ
Do not want to use my reroll there. I need charm. I need charm because both the Kiao sisters are in there. I agree with you there too. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying part of what you're complaining about is in like almost every decent roguelike. You spend a lot of time reading. You want to play these games fast, either for like speedrun purposes or, you know, just to get through the game quicker casually. You gotta know how to read quick. It's a lot of word salad in these games. No, I completely agree with you though. You're not wrong.
必勝の策描いてみせましょう
That's why, like, Hades can be beaten in like 10 minutes, but a casual person will take like an hour. Because those people just got to the point where they don't need to read anything. Yeah, I agree there. I wish it flowed a little bit better. He's really not wanting to give me his wife. I need both of them. Both the Kiao sisters doubles his attack. So it's a top priority to get both of them if you can. I'm getting kind of screwed over by... Oh, never mind. There's one right there. Now I need the other one. I need the other one next. Ah, here we go. This is a chance. Yeah, she's right there. So I have... Gotta use all my rerolls here and try to get her. Aw, come on, game. Gonna blue ball me this hard? That sucks, man. 5 rerolls. 5 rerolls, and she wasn't in the pool. She's not in this pool either. Getting screwed over pretty hard right now. This is peak getting fucked by RNG. I thought for sure that would be it, but no. I have no rerolls left, so it's going to be a lot harder to get her now. Okay, good. Got another crystal bead. The attack bonus from that at least. But we can do better than that. Do a lot better than that. No, I don't want to use the bead there. Is this game worth buying? For 25 bucks, yeah. But the game design in this is also worse than other roguelikes that you can get for cheaper, so... The game design in this that's not the combat is a lot worse than other games you can get. I need to make a video about this, because I know a lot of people are playing this just because it's Dynasty Warriors, but I actually play a lot of roguelikes. I play an unhealthy amount of these games, so... The combat is definitely unique, I'll give it that, but... The other things about the game are very rough. The pacing, the boss shield mechanic. The endgame is pretty rough. Could be a lot better.
うん
Oh man, that's my fault. Yeah, I'm gonna take this. Still no luck getting his wife. He broke up with his wife. They're taking a break in their relationship, apparently, according to this game. They got in a bad fight last night. He slept on the bed. He slept on the couch last night, and she went to work without talking to him. That's pretty much what's happening right now with this run. That's the headcanon of this run. His wife is avoiding him. They had a real bad fight. It's like the main thing that's going to make this go a lot faster is getting Dakiao. The Wild Hearts team was working on this game. That's how they had this coming out so quick. But I haven't looked at the credits. I can't imagine the team for this game was very large. This game is like 95% recycled assets. The only thing that's new is the environments you fight in and the bosses. Literally everything else is recycled from something else. Yeah, they did patches for they did patches for 9 for like 3 years. And Origin sold 1 million copies in like barely a month, so all my complaints about that game will go away over time. They just need to make it more interesting to play long term. The game blows its load too fast. There's no interesting builds or anything to really grind for. The stuff in the Ultimate Warrior difficulty helps, but too much of it is just like boring stat increases. They fix stuff like that, I'll go back to it. Yeah, they did patches for 9 for like 3 years. I know because I did the videos for those patches. I did a bunch of videos for those patches. But like, people actually like Origins, that's the difference. People didn't like 9 and they still supported it for so long. So, I think 9's got a bright future.
我答え
微力ながら私も尽くしましょう。
Damn, no luck again. Horrible RNG. Oh, we got another chance here. I don't think it's gonna happen, folks. He really pissed off his wife last night. His wife, like, moved out or something. His wife left all her shit behind and left him in the apartment alone. Woke up and she's gone. That's the headcanon of this playthrough. Wife dipped. One argument was all it took. Yeah, I wish I had been wrong about that game. It's a good game, but it runs like garbage. And being published by EA doesn't do it any favors. Definitely does not do that game any favors. You know how quickly EA will kill off a game if it's not a Megaton 12,000 copies thing. 12 million copies, I mean. They'll kill it off mad quick. Well, I think Wild Hearts is very much like Dragon's Dogma 2, where the RE engine is great for small, contained area games. Like all the Resident Evil games they made for it run great. DMC and stuff. Street Fighter, all run fine. But then, when they try to make, like, wider scope games with that engine, it barely works. Which is exactly what happened with Dragon's Dogma. The Katana engine that they use for these games is not cut out for an ambitious open-world game like that. It just isn't. Being published by EA doesn't help, because EA will kill off a game quick if it's not an instant success. They don't believe in late bloomers, long-term success. That shit's not selling Football Manager level of copies. They're gonna kill off support, which is exactly what happened. I don't know, a lot of the Monster Hunter crowd was actually really accepting of that game. But the performance definitely killed any momentum it had. I mean, rightfully so. No, I'm pretty sure it's on the Katana engine. It's on their own proprietary engine, which is what this is on. Yeah, the new Monster Hunter. It's interesting how much people are giving that a pass and they're still buying that game, despite how poorly it runs. I'm like, you guys didn't give Wild Hearts a chance. Wild Hearts probably runs a little bit better than that game now, actually. Yeah, I saw people complaining about the performance in that game. I'm like, well, I'm not even gonna bother giving that game a chance. I've got a pretty good computer. I don't really want to be fighting with ports at this point.
もうこれさ努力いたそう今こそ敵を撃ち滅ぼさん
I don't know, Origins doesn't really need fixing. It runs better than Dynasty Warriors 9. Presentation is much better. People actually like it, for one. PC port is actually good, which is pretty impressive and unheard of from Koei Tecmo. Most of their PC ports are terrible. It just needs more stuff. That's what it needs, and it's very obviously going to get that. Just a matter of when and how. Dynasty Warriors 9 was in such a worse state. The PC port, the gameplay, the bugs. Origins does not have that problem. It's actually a pretty well-made game. I mean, they're halfway there with the difficulty having unique stuff, but most of it is uninteresting. The weapons are just stat sticks. You do get some new R1s that are nice, but everything else is really boring stuff. And the gear in the game is very boring, so... I personally don't get really excited about just grinding for stats, for the most part. I like to make interesting builds in games like that, which is pretty much how Musou games have always been. There's cool, you know, builds that you can make, but you can't do that in that game. The builds are very boring. It's kind of a problem when they want you to play through the game 3 times. It needs to be a little bit more of a hook. But there isn't. There isn't a hook. I'd argue the replay value in Orochi 4 was pretty weak. The infinite mode was fun, but really only if you like doing combos and stuff like I do. The gear was also very boring in that game too. The weapons were just stat sticks, just like Origins. Warriors Orochi 4 is a really weird game because if you like style play and you're tired of the more popular style play games like DMC and Bayonetta, you can play that game for hundreds of hours. But if you're not into that, the game gets old really quick. There's very few maps in the game. Character balance is a mess. Especially in the original version, where you couldn't change the sacred treasures. The infinite mode was a step in the right direction, but they just didn't really have any interesting loot. If they had changed that one thing, it would have been a better replay value game than besides weird people like me that are obsessed with juggling bosses and stuff. Yeah, Orochi 4 has a lot of stuff in it, but there's just not really much of a reason to use most of it. The post-game mode does very little to fix that problem. Especially because some of the objectives in the infinite mode take like 5 times longer. And the only thing you really get for doing it is just a weapon that does more damage. When you can already combo every enemy in the game to death in a couple seconds. So, in a way, it's kind of the same problem as Origins. Like, the combat is really fun, but there's not really a lot of hooks to keep you playing. Unless you're into style play, which is like such a small subset of the people that play those games. Just like speedrunning, you know, there are some games that are built with speedrunning in mind, but like the actual people that sit down and will grind like a world record or a personal best and like challenge themselves is like really small. So like games aren't really built around that. You need something more mainstream to keep people playing. Warriors Abyss is almost there, but the end game is trash, honestly. The meta progression is very uninteresting. The unique weapons are fun, but like the difficulty balance is so messed up where the only thing that really changes is you just get more money, but everything takes longer to kill. So it's like, are you really making any more money? It's like if you have like an hourly wage somewhere that's more, but it takes longer to get the same amount you would get for doing less. That's basically how Warriors Abyss works. Is it really worth going up to the highest difficulty when you don't get any tangible benefit? The only benefit is that it takes like 1.5 less runs, I think, on average, probably, to get a unique weapon from the pity system. But everything also takes longer to kill, so are you really saving any time? Maybe just barely. But with how that game works, if you don't get the right stuff, everything takes so much longer to kill. I really don't think it even evens out. I hope that they fix stuff like that, because like I explained at the beginning of the stream, there's indie games that do difficulty way better than that game, and they're made by much smaller teams with way less resources. Astral Ascent, the game I played for a while before I did that last Abyss run, is made by like a dozen people, and the end game in that is so much better, and they had like a fraction of the resources. They really need to improve that stuff for Warriors Abyss to have any kind of longevity. If you're going to make the game harder, it should have some kind of benefit. The only benefit is more money. And it only takes like 20 hours to max out the skill tree. So the only use you have for money is the unique weapons. But it also doesn't tell you what the unique weapons do inside the game. You have to go outside the game to find that. So even that doesn't work. If they're going to give you more money, they need to have some kind of permanent sink for it. Which is something that like service games do. Like obviously you get like more money in the service game than you do the pooling currency, but they have gold sinks so that the money is actually useful. Roguelikes need that too. Blaze Through Entropy Effect and Astral Ascent do that much better. There are a lot of meta currency sinks in those games to make sure that it doesn't just end up being a number that goes up forever and has no value. And I'm going to make a video about this and send it to the community manager probably later today, and hopefully we'll get some changes, because the game is fun, but the balance is out of whack. The RNG is kind of rough to get a build going, and then because of the guard bar system, going up higher in difficulty doesn't really feel fun. It's a standard problem in a lot of video games that involve fighting. The harder difficulty is just more stats. It's not actually more challenging. You're just doing the same thing for longer. And with the way the game is designed right now, if you're not breaking the guard bar quick, you spend more time on the bosses than the rest of the game. And that's pretty bad design for a game that has like 7 bosses you fight a run, and it's the same boss every time. Anyway, I'm done for tonight, folks. I'm going to probably go to bed, and I'll make that video for the community manager. You can expect that up probably in the afternoon, and then from there, I'll probably hop on stream and play some more. Thanks for watching, everybody. Good night. If you want to support me, I'm down to like no cash right now, so want to look at the pinned message and help me survive the next few days. I greatly appreciate it. But yeah, we'll do some more runs later today. Hopefully get some unique weapons, and then I'll relay that feedback that that long ramble I just did, the long rant. I will relay that to the community manager, and hopefully we'll get some changes in the game. I'll see you guys later. Hit up the PayPal link if you want to help me out. I'll see you later.